Alright, what's up y'all? We're back. I'm back. Uh Part 2 of the draft recap. This is where things are gonna get really spicy. Yo, it's me from another day. This is actually a new intro because after I recorded the whole video, including the draft and then ranking the teams, the footage is actually way too long. And I figured that you'd get enough of my takes about each player just from when I was ranking the teams. So I just cut out the entire first part of the video. So sometimes I'm gonna reference something I said in the deleted portion. So just ignore that, you know? I just thought I'd let you know that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Now here's what I've done. I have already ranked the teams. I have put them into tiers. I have separated them by people that I think are already true contenders, and then people that are potential playoff teams that could become contenders, depending on how their players do or if they make trades. And then there's just the bottom tier where I don't think it'll take a lot for them to make a playoff run. Here we go. So I'm gonna go from the top down, alright? And this will probably not surprise anybody. But my top team that I think has the best chance of winning. Gabe Noda, digs in a blanket. I mean, this guy got so freaking lucky in the draft. Partially because of me. Partially because of the 16 out of 20 incident. It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, you just look at this team. I mean, it's just stacked from top to bottom. There's nothing really for me to even say. Two of the best receivers fell to him, Devontae Adams and Diggs, while still having Jonathan Taylor and Josh Allen. Yeah, and then personally, I'm not the biggest fans of picks 6, 7, 8, and 9. I mean, they're fine picks. I'm not super high on a couple of them. Cam Akers, I kind of had faded, but you know, these are RB 3 and 4. In an ideal situation, you don't even have to play them. I really like the running back depth here, Ramondre Stevenson. I like the wide receiver pickups, Gallup and Jones. Yeah, really nice late picks, and I think this team right here could definitely be a playoff contender. Alright, anyways, next. This one's probably going to surprise some people. The second team I'm placing in almost surefire contender list. I'm going with Brendan's team. I will tell you why. Brendan's team has everything that I look for when I'm drafting my own teams. He got two really good running backs early. As time has passed, I can see why people aren't as high on Aaron Jones for sure. AJ Dillon is definitely going to be splitting some carries. As long as Aaron Jones keeps getting the passing downs, he should be fine. He should produce a lot still, as long as he still gets some red zone touches. I'm really big on Saquon Barkley this year. He's got a strong tight end. I'm a big fan of that because you just draft your tight end and then you just leave it alone. He's got good wide receiver depth actually, and he even got a rookie wide receiver with high potential. You know, I kind of won last year with that, and every year that I've done that, it's gone really well for me. So I like the George Pickens pick here a lot. I like his starting receivers too. I think he's a nice core going. Lots of some PPR monsters, if you will, especially Deontay Johnson. And he got a really good value quarterback late in the draft. Kyler Murray in the 8th round to me is a steal. I would have drafted him if Brendan didn't. I really like that pick. But yeah, I actually really like this team. I think he has some of the most safe running back depth out of anybody in this league. Barkley, Jones, and then Penny and Gordon, who are definitely going to get some touches. I really like this team actually. To me, he's a contender for sure. But yeah, that's Brendan. Now here's where I'm putting a tier break. I think those two teams are probably, I'm pretty confident, have really good shots at making the playoffs. Then the next 5 teams? Is it 5? Yep, the next 5 teams are good teams that We have to see if they're great, or we have to see if trades happen or transactions happen that make the team great. And so, the third overall team I have ranked, and the first of this tier, it's me. It's me. I'm confident in me, alright? I like my team. In my opinion, I think I walked away with good value at every pick. Cup falling to 6 is nuts. I still landed one of my top running back targets, Leonard Fournette, who, you know, maybe he'll share some carries, but I have a really hard time. I have a hard time seeing them take out Leonard Fournette when it really matters. And I think he's still going to get a vast majority of the carries and touches. And getting one of my most targeted players, Mark Andrews, in the 3rd round. I mean, I couldn't ask for more. Mark Andrews is essentially the #1 pass catcher on the Ravens. At first, honestly, I wasn't too happy with my running backs outside of Leonard Fournette, and even then, if you want to be iffy on Leonard Fournette, you can. I was never that high on Travis Etienne. Landing James Robinson on waiver wire was humongous. I'm just gonna keep abusing the waiver wire while it's the off season. So I feel a little bit more okay about Travis Etienne because there are some bold predictors that say James Robinson will actually outscore Travis this year, which would feel a little bit bad because he was a 4th round pick. But I mean, just having the other guy there is fine for me. It makes me feel more okay with it. Obviously, I talked about Dameon Pierce. That's my guy. 5'9", 220, strong runner, sharp cuts. I think he definitely has potential to be starting in Travis Etienne's spot right here. And then I really like my receiver. I think all of my receivers are going to do great. I mean, Kupp, Higgins, the legend Gabe Davis, Marquise Brown is wide receiver 1 for 6 weeks, Devontae Smith, and Brian Robinson, my man, on IR. If he comes back and takes the starting spot, then I could have 3 or 4 running backs that are lead carriers in their backfield, and that's honestly not much. There's not much else you can ask for at that point. Also, Jalen Hurts, round 8 is nuts. I mean, this guy was one of the best fantasy quarterbacks last year. Oh, and Drake London, my rookie receiver legend. Next, the 4th overall team, and the 2nd in this tier on my list. This one was close, 4 and 5, 4 and 5, and then 6 and 7 were close for me. But in the 4th spot, I have Caleb. I like this team. I think that your first 6 rounds are pretty nice. Where are you? Kamara, Mixon, really good receiver start. Tyreek Hill in the 3rd. I mean, I kind of had him faded just because I'm way too worried about his quarterback situation. But, I mean, he'll still get it. He'll create still. That's not even a question. Tyreek Hill and Sutton I really like. AJ Dillon I think was a bit of a reach to get RB3 value where you can. It's always good. And then AJ Brown. AJ Brown in the 6 is nuts. Really good. You know, Trey Lance, definitely a reach still. For sure. I can't ignore that. But the potential is obviously there. Obviously, that's your guy. Being at the end of the rounds can put you in a tough spot where you feel like you have to reach more than you would in the middle. As a prospect, as a fantasy prospect, I'm not super high on Dalton Schultz, but I think just off the strength of PPR, he'll probably be alright. I'm just not as high on him as I am on a couple other tight ends, but I'm sure he'll be fine. I really like the Chris Olave pick, rookie receiver supremacy. Then you drop the James Robinson. I literally have in my notes, may have to try and trade for Robinson, but we'll see how the season plays out. I mean, I didn't have to trade for him, so thank you, man. You dropped him for Aaron Rodgers, so hey, thank you, sir. Yeah, I really do think that your team has a lot of potential. I really like your team. I think you're just a very well-rounded team that has good depth, and you know, I do like the Aaron Rodgers kind of safety blanket for Trey Lance. I definitely think you can make a playoff push without a doubt. All right, now the 5th team. Like I said, very close between the 4th and the 5th team. The 5th team I have in this middle tier, that has a good chance of making the playoffs. I got Miguel. Got that fucking logo. Here's the thing with Miguel, right? Here's the thing with Miguel, right? If you went like this, if you just went like this team is probably top 2. This team is probably top 2 to me. Okay, maybe top 3. I'm gonna say top 3. Like this, I think the team could be top 3. The talent and potential. Chase Edmonds looks like the lead back. Hilaire looks like the lead back. Mitchell's gonna be the lead back. He's the 2 of the top 3 receivers in a full PPR league. We got his guy George Kittle, one of the stronger tight ends in the draft. Michael Thomas is a PPR machine. Joe Burrow is gonna be slinging his meat again. Like this, I think this team was probably top 3. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that. It looks like this. It looks like this. The bench is one of the most suspect in the league. But I will give him credit. He took my advice. He took my advice. As you can see here in the draft, he took 1, 2, 3, 4. He took 4 running backs from rounds 9 to 12. I told him, hey, I think if you just drop one of these running backs and just get a receiver on the waiver wire or something that has like some upside and just give your team a bit more depth, then I think you're golden. And look what he did. Look what he did. My man, he listened. Dropped Jeff Wilson Jr., which is interesting. I might have dropped. I mean, it's fine. It's Jeff Wilson. It doesn't matter. It's running back like 7. You got Tyler Lockett. Now he has a little bit of wide receiver depth. And when you have Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, and then you can add Michael Thomas and Tyler Lockett just in case something happens or whatever. I mean, I think this is a great team. With Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson leading the team, these three running backs, Mitchell, Edmonds, and Hilaire, I think they'll be more than enough to boost the team to where it needs to be. And yeah, I know that I'm probably in the minority on Miguel's team just because, especially at first, his bench was only running backs. But I actually really like the potential of this team. Miguel, you're 4th or 5th. I don't know. Caleb, that means you're 4th or 5th. I don't know. You guys can fucking sword fight or something. Now for 6th, I was close between 6th and 7th also. I think that these two teams are pretty close to each other. These two teams in particular, I think are teams that we're going to have to really monitor throughout the season just because I do have my concerns about both of them. So the 6th team I have is this atrocious ass name. We have Cade's team. It's not crazy to say that Herb in the 3rd and Hopkins in the 5th are reaches. They weren't really bad because I do think they're both going to perform still. Honestly, my least favorite pick is for sure Cole Kmet in the 13th round. And I know it's the 13th round, but I think he's a really capped tight end that's not going to do much. My issue with him is that he's a 13th pick that's forced into your starting lineup. Like, you look at the other 13th round picks, like, a lot of people are probably never going to play them. Boston Scott, Gallup's not playing. Gallup's a good pick. He's going to play a lot later. It's a defense, a kicker. James Cook's he might get in, but probably not much. Like, get into the fantasy starting lineup. Another kicker, defense, and then your starting tight end. It's like, Lazard's questionable. He'll probably play, but like a chance he might not even play. And now you have to start someone else here. I don't know. I feel like you could have done something else at tight end, personally. Because now this bum is stuck in your starting lineup and it looks kind of ass. I think the rest of your team is fine though. I do have concerns at wide receiver. I guess my concerns are Brandon Cooks and Allen Lazard for the first 4 for 6 weeks, just because Brandon Cooks. I mean, he is a wide receiver 1 for sure in Houston. Compared to other teams, wide receivers that have PPR monsters, Cooks and Lazard don't really fit that mold, and so I don't know how valuable or I don't know how much value you're gonna get out of them compared to other wide receivers. But Hopkins coming back should definitely help. Like I said, hopefully you will be afloat by that time. Hopefully you won't be near the bottom. Yeah, 5th or 6th. And then in 7th, person I have like right behind or like right on the same level. Where is he? We have Alexei. Now, I really like Alexei's first 3 rounds. Hold on. I really like Alexei's first 3 rounds. McCaffrey, Chubb, and Lamb. It's a really good start. I said before that I wasn't, like, as time has passed, I've become more okay with Allen Robinson taking where he was. I do think he will get a lot of red zone targets, which is good. I think you could have gotten him later still. I don't know for sure, but I don't think it was too bad of a reach. I mean, I like a lot of these picks. Ken Walker and Christian Kirk in particular I really like. Waddle I have concerns about just because I don't know what the chemistry is like with Tua. Now that Tyreek Hill is there, I don't know how many targets for sure Waddle's gonna get. Dobbins said I'm worried about that Baltimore backfield. There's just so many running backs that I don't know if Dobbins is gonna pan out at all. There's just a lot of running backs that could get touches in Baltimore, and I feel like it's absolutely going to be a committee. So I don't know. I think it's a bit high for a 6th-round pick, but I can definitely see the potential that's there. I really like the Ken Walker pick. Whenever he gets healthy, Kareem Hunt's a nice backup for Nick Chubb. This team is like right there with Cade's team. Honestly, I mean, I think you guys are pretty much even, to be honest. I think that I have a little bit more concern about the flex spot on this team than Cade's team, because I think once Cade gets DeAndre Hopkins, his team is going to be a lot better. I think that gives him a slight edge over this team. I could definitely see this team making a playoff run if all the players hit the way that they can. Obviously, that is a lot to ask for everybody to always hit at the right time. But yeah, I think this team has potential for a playoff run, in my opinion. That brings us to my bottom tier teams. These are teams that I think need a significant change, significant something to boost them to potential playoff teams. And my 8th team is Gabe Mason. I'm gonna have to censor that logo. You can't even see his face, unfortunately. But that's Derrick Henry making the funny face. As far as top running backs go, these are probably 2 that I would lower on. I've said my piece about Derrick Henry being on a worse offense now. Javonte Williams, how it's still splitting carries to Melvin Gordon. They weren't super bad for where they were drafted. Well, Derrick Henry I think was a bit bad for where he was drafted. Javonte Williams I think was fine. I do think that Diggs or Adams would be better than Williams here. I do like the Travis Kelce pick. I do like the Cordell Patterson pick. Yeah, Travis Kelce, DJ Moore, Patrick Mahomes. That's a great 3-4-5 right there. I think Jerry Jeudy at 6th. Patterson, I definitely think he's a reach at 7. But I do think he'll do good. He said I think Gibson's probably gonna lose the starting spot once Brian Robinson comes back. I like Chris Godwin. I like this Chris Godwin pick. Amari Cooper at this point is also good. And you even got the Russell Wilson Jerry Jeudy stacks. That's pretty cool.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Here's the thing. Every team in a 10-man is gonna look good. Like this team just looks like a good team. So in the end, I think it comes down to maximizing pick potential, and I think some of that was lost in the first few rounds. I don't know, I just think there were better people on the board than what was taken in the first 2 rounds, and it would have changed your draft a lot, but I think I would have liked it more than this team. there's not much running back depth on the team. It kind of falls off after Patterson, in my opinion. Which, you know, it's RB4 and 5, which is like whatever. I'm just not very heavy on the running back situation here. The wide receivers and tight end and everything else is good, but I think I'm gonna have to be convinced on just how good Derrick Henry and Javonte Williams are gonna be. So I have this as the 8th team personally, but I think if these two running backs play like stars and they produce like stars, then I could definitely be proven wrong. And on the 9th team, this was one of the most stressful teams for me to rank because I really like half of the picks, and then I really don't like the other half of the picks. Every other pick makes me go, oh, that's a good pick, and then it's like, oh, that's kind of a bad pick, and then it's just like, I don't know how to rank the team. So it ended up at 9th. At 9th, I have Jack's team. Here's my issue with Jack's team, right? Dalvin Cook at 5, I didn't like it. I was like, Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson were up. I mean, I don't see how you take Dalvin Cook there. James Conner, I really like James Conner. I think he's going to do great this season. I'm really high on James Conner. He went early. This is early for James Conner, but I mean, I like the pick. I like the player. Mike Evans, I'd like this pick too. It's a good receiver. Good number 1 receiver, Tom Brady. Josh Jacobs, I was like, no, what is that? I was like, here's the thing, right? He doesn't need an RB3, especially not this early and not with this running back. He has Dalvin Cook and James Conner. You're hoping that Dalvin Cook and James Conner are gonna play every single week except for the bye week. You don't actually need an RB3 unless you're worried about your running backs, because then you can just fill your flex spot with whoever you think is best available. And I think Mike Williams and a lot of other receivers and players that win in the 4th and 5th round are just better overall than Josh Jacobs, who you're probably never putting in for Cook and Conner. Like, you will never see on a non-bye week Josh Jacobs in one of these running back spots. So I feel like if he took, I feel like at round 4, if he took Allen Robinson or DJ Moore or Michael Pittman, and then you put him in this flex spot, right here, I feel like this is one of the best teams. But it's so like, I just feel like the Josh Jacobs pick was just like not the way to go. The team is just like so close. Like, it was so close to being, because I mean, like I said, I don't love the 1st round pick, but I mean, just looking at the team, I think like the players aren't bad. Dalvin Cook, James Conner, Mike Evans, and then a top receiver, like, I don't know, Michael Pittman, DJ Moore, whoever, as your wide receiver 2, and then Mike Williams being down here, that would be so good. Ironically, the running back depth on this team is actually not that good. James Cook he has potential. We don't really know what he is because he's a rookie. James Conner, Mike Williams, Dawson Knox, those are probably my favorite picks out of where he got them, and just the players as fantasy prospects. And Tom Brady, like Tom Brady too. But the Ertz and the Jacobs, it's staring me in the face. I just can't ignore it. I don't like it. I don't like those picks. Listen, if Zach Ertz and Josh Jacobs, if they work, if Dalvin Cook plays like RB, like overall RB2, RB3, whatever, then it's fine. Theoretically, if you drafted a bunch of people like 3 rounds early, but they all performed the best, then it doesn't matter that you took them 3 rounds early. That's an exaggeration, but all I'm saying is that it's not the end of the world that he reached on people. I'm just worried that he reached on people and then missed out on better talent. If you want to get your guy, then get your guy, because at the end of the day, If they perform, no matter where you took them, then it's fine. It doesn't matter who you passed on. But if they don't perform, and then there was more like secure talent, there was like safer picks, or just like higher potential picks that were passed on, then it's like, okay, that was a bad reach. But yeah, I mean, I had a really hard time ranking this team just because, like I said, every team in a 10-man is gonna look good. I just think there was too much missed out on this team. So this is my 9th team, which would now bring me to the last team, and you could figure out who it is by process of elimination. Ah, Eric, what is that name? What the fuck is that? Oh my god. I just noticed, holy fuck. Eric, I'm giving you the worst team. I have the most concerns about your team. Like I said, an issue I had is that the player choices look fine, but looking at who the team could have had, or what the team could have been, just confused me. I talked about this before, but this right here, this into this. Here's do a little experiment, okay? Replace Zeke and Debo, okay? Replace Zeke and Debo with Diggs and Kelsey, or Diggs and Lamb, or Diggs and Evans, or whoever else. Just Diggs and somebody else. Right here at the top. Imagine he started Austin Eckler, who was a reach. Okay, I'll admit it's a reach. Imagine he started Austin Eckler, Diggs, and Kelsey. Is that not way better than this? Or Eckler, Diggs, Mike Evans? Is that not way better than this? I mean, I just think that this pick really boned you. The ironic thing is, I think the rest of your draft actually is pretty good. I actually think the rest of your draft is pretty good. I like, in terms of where they were drafted and how good I think they're going to do this year, I think you got better value out of Ayuk at 6th than Debo in the 3rd, personally. I know you goofed for taking the same receiver on the same team, but I don't know. I still think Ayuk is going to do fine. You got DK at like a crazy discount, round 9. I think that was good. I think Bateman's good. He's wide receiver 1. I like Pittman. I don't know how to feel about Zeke. He's splitting carries. He probably could have gone later. Waller, you're fine at tight end. Actually, I like Damian Harris. That's my guy. Kind of boned it running back after that because there was just not much people left. Matthew Stafford at quarterback. Not that he's bad. Just looking at who the other teams have and who else is what the other teams look like, I just have a hard time seeing this as a playoff contender. If we get prime Zeke and then, Debo can do what he did last year, which, I think is a lot to ask, but if he can, then this team is going to be fine. And it could make a playoff push. I just have a lot of concerns. That rounds out my tier list of our teams from the draft. Oh boy. I said in the last video, I think people overrated running backs to hell this year, and I hope it doesn't happen again, because it left fucking so many good receivers on the board for so long, and then we ended up with this monstrosity. I just think that we reached too far on running backs this year. Last year we took running backs high, but they were supposed to go high. This year I think we went too heavy. I think we went way too heavy on the running backs this year. Some more of them should have gone in the 3rd round than they did. Maybe I contributed to that a little bit, but in fairness, I did end up with Cooper Kupp at 6th overall, so I had to do what I had to do. Miguel had to get Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. How did he even get those two people? Like, what the hell is going on? Yo, hey again, it's me from a different day. Thank you for watching the video. Here's the final tier list. up here so you can see the whole breakdown. I'm making a new outro also because the next 10 minutes of the footage was actually me going on a rant about how we need another bench spot and a wide receiver 3 spot. But you know, obviously we can discuss that more in the off season. But you know, I just want you to think about just a few things, you know, just throughout the season. Think about how many good receivers there are for one, how many good running backs there are for two, and how many people are putting a wide receiver in their flex spot. Just think about those three things. Don't think about scoring, PPR, half PPR, that doesn't matter. Just think about those three things. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I have a lot of fun making these. I tried out new things in editing and just types of videos. So you know, just thank you for being on this journey with me. I look forward to doing this again next year, and good luck to everyone this season. I still hope I kick your ass though. I'll see you guys later.